going from one relationship into another relationship and not fully healing and accepting the terms on why him and his ex ended had a lot to do with me and him. I feel like the unaddressed issues that transpired into our relationship, to where from jump he already had it figured out and forced himself to believe that I was gonna do the same thing, or I was gonna be the same way, or things were gonna be the same. You know, I didn't get that vibe in the beginning, but as certain situations and disagreements started to happen, I could tell that he kind of started to shut me off and shut me out. As he started acting that way towards me, it forced my hand, it forced me to start being shut off and acting like that. And that, I feel like, contributed a lot to our relationship, because we would go to sleep, wake up, not talking, not saying nothing to each other, go the whole day without speaking, and it was just like we were just coexisting. We weren't even in a relationship anymore. I didn't feel loved. I didn't feel appreciated. I didn't feel like I was wanted. I started to feel like he was neglecting me. I just really started to question myself and my worth and my value, and where I could have possibly went wrong for my relationship to get to where it had gotten. I would remember doubting myself so much that I would just break down and cry. Like, I found myself crying so much, y'all. I would lock myself in the bathroom and just be on the phone with my friend for hours, my best friend for hours, just crying and just telling her how bad I wanted to go home, how bad I just wasn't feeling like me anymore, and that I was just sick of it, just sick of just living for somebody else, living somebody else's life that they had created for me. I was no longer Jonah. I was this other person. I was no longer living my own life. This relationship definitely brought me out of who I truly am, and I'm so ashamed to say that, because I probably on social media look like this girl who's just so strong, got a good head on her shoulders, you know, isn't easily like told what to do or follows anybody else. But y'all, when I tell you guys, I lost me. I lost being in touch with my true self. I completely just shied away from everything I stood for. I cut off everybody who loved me, my best friends. I shied away from family. I want to say I even went as far as like avoiding talking to my father, because I knew how he felt about my situation. I knew that he knew I was unhappy. I mean, you guys knew I was unhappy. It was people commenting all the time under my pictures like, oh, you got so skinny, or oh, you must not be in a happy relationship, you look sick. And I could honestly say that
I remember getting on her live. She was, I think, getting her hair done, and she stood up to show her hair at the end, and everybody on the live was like, you're getting really small, you're losing weight, all this stuff about her weight. And after that, she was like asking questions to change the comment section.
I was at my lowest. Like, that relationship with him was when I was at my lowest. But I so desperately tried to mask that and lie to the world, and went out of my way to prove to the world that I'm okay. Like, I'm happy, and this is where I wanted to be. Deep down inside, I couldn't wait for somebody to come rescue me and just shake me and wake me up and tell me this is not how it's supposed to be. You're more deserving than this. You're worth more than this. But I was just so stuck in living for somebody else and loving somebody else that I forgot how to love yourself, that's like the end of no return. When you don't love yourself, somebody can make you do whatever and live however, and it's so easy to control somebody like that. And I want to say I was letting him control me. I was going for anything he was telling me. I was doing anything he wanted me to do. I was changing who I truly was to make him feel more secure and more comfortable with being with me. I'm a beautiful girl. I know that. And
gorgeous girl.
I would always tell him, like, you're not the first dude that has found me attractive, and you're not going to be the last. And I can't control.
Hold on, y'all.
How I look, how people perceive me, how people feel about me. But all you and I got is us. I need you to trust me. And I feel like because of insecurities that he didn't trust me. He did not trust me at all. You know, I started changing how I dressed. I started changing all my physical appearance to make somebody else more comfortable. And that goes back to living a life that somebody else had built for me. That wasn't me. You guys, for those who have been following me on Instagram since the beginning, I've always been the type to wear crop tops and shorts and tight clothing. That has just always been me. But when I got with him to make him feel more comfortable, I started changing to make him feel more comfortable. And now that I look back at it, I'm not proud. I regret it because it's taken me a long time to get back to who I was before the relationship. Another aspect that I feel that kind of was a wrench that affected him and how we got along is his family dynamic. I know many people have different upbringings. We all have different family structures and all this and that. And I come from a family that's, you know, I'm taught what love is at a very young age. I'm taught what it's like to have both parents in your life, two active parents in your life. I had all of that growing up. I had the picture perfect family. On his end, he might not have had all that, you know. He shares a lot of that in his songs. He said a lot of that on social media, you know. So comparing my family aspect and his family aspect, it was completely different. And I think we were both taught two different meanings and examples of love. He had this idea of love and what it's like to love somebody, and I had a whole different perspective. And that's kind of where we also bumped heads and where things kind of went left for us. Not to mention the age. I'm 4 years older than him. You know, as they say, boys are already less mature than girls are. So me being 4 years older, you can only imagine the difference in maturity and life experiences and all that. So I had, you know, one up on him as far as relationships and experiences and, you know, just life in general. So I feel like that's also what caused us not to see eye to eye and why we were bumping heads. And maturity, like certain situations where he was clearly wronging, he saw and felt like he did no wrong. You know, and no matter how much I would try to tell him, this is where you went wrong, and this is why I feel the way I feel, and how I feel the way I feel, instead of saying, like, I'm sorry, I apologize, I see where you're coming from, it was always an argument. I just feel like when you, as a couple, can't communicate your guys' feelings and your partner doesn't try to understand why or where they could have made you or what they did to make you feel a certain way, you just learn how to tolerate and not address situations anymore because you realize it's not going to go anywhere. I learned how to tolerate and deal with instead of speaking about them and bringing them to light, I just kind of swept them under the rug until finally I just had enough. I just thank my parents so much to this day because they're the reason why I finally decided to leave. I'll never forget, they had came to LA to visit me because I had already been away from home for like a month or 2 months. They brought my brother down to visit me for the weekend, and me and Bryson had already been going at it, I think a few days before they got there. When the first day that they got there, we were still not speaking. It was just awkward between me and him, but we tried to put on this front like everything was okay. Well, he ended up leaving the penthouse, and I was just there with his dad and my parents and my brothers. I was just so sad, and I had texted him as he was gone. He had took the car and left. I had texted him like, can you please come and talk to me, blah 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 blah, and he basically like brushed me off as if my feelings did not matter or were not a priority to address. You know, my dad is my best friend. He always is the person that I run to for advice when it comes to my relationships because he is a man. He knows how boys think. He's been there and done that. He just really reassured me that I deserve more than this. He could tell I was unhappy. I don't normally stand for stuff like this, so why would I start standing for it now? As much as I wanted to stay, I just knew I couldn't. Him not coming to speak to me that day was like the final sign for me to get my stuff and go. I was no longer a priority to him. And our relationship had already went to shit. So, you know, I'm stuck like, why am I so desperately trying to save a relationship that he doesn't care about saving? So I packed my stuff up, all my stuff, and I left. I think that was the last time I ever really saw him again, other than his graduation, but that was like the last time I really saw him when we were on decent terms. All I can say is that was probably the best decision I've ever made in my life because it allowed me to find myself again. It allowed me to remember who I was, to wake up, to realize that I deserved more than what I was getting, more than the situation that I was in. And it showed him that he can no longer treat me how he was treating me. It showed him that if he didn't get his stuff together, that I was gonna go. You know, I had never left him like that ever before, which is why I feel like he got away with a lot. But it was that moment, if no other moment showed him that I wasn't standing for that anymore. Like I said, I can't thank my parents enough for that. You know, I'm grown. I was 21 at that time, but I still relied on my parents. And I still to this day rely on my parents, especially my dad when it comes to my relationships. You know, you're never too old to seek advice from your parents because no matter how old you are, they have more knowledge of the game. They've been in more situations. They've been in that situation probably multiple times. All this was kind of new to me. So, yeah, I seek guidance from them, and that was probably like the best thing I could have done. Not for my relationship, not for him, but for me. I finally chose me. Regardless of how he was going to feel, how he was going to react, what anybody thought of me, it was time for me to choose me and walk away, and I did just that. So overall, I just feel like in a relationship, you and your partner are supposed to walk side by side. And I started to feel like he was walking in front of me and I was just following in his footsteps. When a relationship goes so far to the point of no return, there's really nothing you can do to rekindle that bond, to fix your relationship, and I just felt like it had just gone to a point of no return. There was nothing else that I could possibly do. There was no more fight in me. I had really given up. Like, I felt like I had just got my whooped in a fight being in that relationship. And I'm honestly very proud of myself to be able to tell this story, because I know it's so many girls out there that go through or are going through, have been through the same exact situation as me. And I just want to say, like, you're not alone. It happens to all of us. You just use that relationship, that situation as a learning experience to not make the same mistakes, to go into a relationship with a different plan, with a different, with your eyes open. I can definitely say that situation has made me a lot stronger, a lot wiser, a lot smarter, and a lot more cautious of who I allow to get close to me and my heart. I also want to bring up the fact that a lot of people think that I am the reason why he cannot see his child, and I want to say that that is not the reason. I am not the reason why he cannot see Clover or why he hasn't seen her.
They spoke on that.
I have nothing to do with that situation. Any drama that happened or transpired between me and Mariah was not because I was looking to start issues with her. In the beginning, when I guess drama first happened between me and her, it was because she was texting Bryson's phone all these like negative things about me, calling me names and stuff like that. And I always, gave her the benefit of the doubt, because if I was carrying the seed of my ex and me and him were no longer together, and I found out of his new relationship through social media, I would be hurt too. And I get the pregnancy hormones, all this and that stuff. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. I never took anything personal. People talk about me all the time. That's nothing. He felt like when, I guess, he was going through what he was going through with the mother of his child, as far as them trying to figure out how they were going to co-parent, and then going back and forth on Twitter, and him feeling like she was painting him out to be this nasty person, that it was my responsibility to come in and save him and protect his image and defend him and be by his side, when in reality that was not my job. When him and his baby mama had whatever transpired between him and her, I told Bryson out of my own mouth, that's between you and her. I'm not going to step on anybody's toes. I'm not going to get into it, because I knew by me getting into it, it could have potentially worsened his potential relationship with his child. Because now it was going to be a reason, I don't want my baby around her because she disrespected me or whatever. So to avoid that being a reason why he couldn't see his child, I chose on many occasions to stay out of the drama. Now, there were times where I probably have said something that made her feel like I was coming for her, or made it look like on social media that I was coming for her, but that was just simply because I was made to feel like it was my responsibility to defend him. And when I wouldn't defend him, and when I wouldn't come, be Captain Save-A-Ho, it caused arguments and friction in our relationship, and I wanted to avoid that by any means. So, yeah, sometimes I might have said something back in his defense, but for the most part, I tried to stay out of it. And for those who know me know, I don't really be in drama. I'm not really for drama. So for me to kind of, say something was like out of my element, out of who I was. But again, I did that to prove to him that I'm a ride or die. Like, I'm with you till the wheels fall off. We in this together. With that being said, I don't have any issues with his baby mama. I don't have issues with anybody. Yeah. So with that all being said, this brings us The end.
Wow. I completely understand everything that was being said in the video. I also was in a relationship like that where I just kind of lost myself. It seemed like we weren't side by side. It seemed like he was a step ahead of me and I was a step behind him. I definitely understand how draining it can be to try to fight and fight and fight for a relationship because you know the meaning of love, and that's why I had no words. I'm actually very shocked at how she handled this. She handled this very, very well in this video. She addressed everything so maturely in this video. Don't know how I thought she was gonna address this video. I did not think she was gonna address this video like that. She said what needed to be said. Well, that was my reaction. Thank you guys for watching this video. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're new and give me a big thumbs up. And I will see you guys in the next one.